Hi everyone. This is going to be an overview for the upper body flexibility portion of this week. First stretch is going to be for the thumb. I know it's not a common place to stretch, but it is oftenly tight. Typing, texting, all the things. So it's good to stretch it out, to know how to stretch it out. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a hand to stretch. You're going to take your other hand opposite, grab it, right? And then you're going to pull down, so like towards the floor, and then back towards you. And allow your thumb to spin, and then just kind of feel that tension. It's going to be right here on the inside of your thumb, kind of running up towards your wrist. So you just find that tension, breathe into it. Make sure you're pulling the top knuckle of your thumb back, otherwise it doesn't really hit quite as effectively. You also want to keep your fingers extended, so you're not trying to make a fist. And just have them nice and extended, and if you can, down ever so slightly. Yep, just hold that and breathe. Next up is some standing wrist stretches. These are just a different variant of wrist stretches that are pretty effective. So, first one is for the flexors. So, the front, or I guess most people think back of the forearm. The ones that do curls and clenching and all the things. So you're going to take your hand, middle finger goes onto your thumb, your palm goes over your other fingers. Then you're going to flex the wrist down and push to drive it forwards with the elbow so you're getting that extension. Now really make sure you're keeping that thumb nice and engaged. Then you're going to think about driving your fingers further back towards you as you push your palm away, trying to get that elbow really nicely locked. Now, if you can hyperextend your elbow, try not to actually, because that will be stretching something different. So just kind of extend. If you can't hyperextend, then you don't need to worry about that. But just make sure you're pulling that back and trying to keep tension in your fingertips. The next one is for the wrist extensors. So, I'm going to make a fist, palm onto the fist. Really make sure you're keeping all your fingers nicely set there, because that's going to get the stretch really intensely. Then you're going to flex down and push. And then you just kind of tuck your fist in, keeping the fingers engaged. And I'll get everything in here. Real good stretching. Now, often you can just go like this and just pull with the fingers relaxed. I find that doesn't stretch as well. If you get the fingers involved, I find a lot more tension. But if you find this is too much tension and you want to do the fingers the other way, you totally can. But make sure you come off and open and close your hands a few times, because you're putting a lot of strain on those tendons and you want to make sure they're feeling nice afterwards. Next up is a low reverse clap. So focus on the abs, your hips, keep yourself really, really upright, because that's very important for this one. If you move in the chest and trying to conform to the stretch, it's not going to be anywhere near as effective. Palms facing forward. You're going to bring your hands back, and then think about you're squeezing your hands together, trying to think about getting the back of your hands to touch. It's not going to happen, but that is what you want to think about. And you're going to hold into that position, really bringing the shoulder blades together, feeling a chest stretch, reaching your hands down. And then breathe. And really focus on that deep exhale. When you do that, you should feel an increase in tension everywhere, in the chest and the shoulders, everywhere you're feeling the stretch. And then you breathe in, kind of lets off. Deep, deep, deep exhale. Really squeeze. It'll build back up that tension. So just make sure you're trying to hold that, really engage. Next up is a Dowel standing reach. I think that's what I called it. This is for the lats and the upper back. So you're going to grab the dowel about this wide, about a foot from your hips on either side. This kind of depends on how flexible you are and how comfortable it is to get the dowel over your head. So if you need to, you can go really, really wide to get up here. You don't really want to go super narrow, because it doesn't stretch quite as well. So you want to get a moderate width. And then what you're going to do is lean over to the side, and you're thinking about this top hand is driving, that bottom hand is pulling, and both hands are moving backwards. You'll find that you'll hit that stretch up here into the lats, maybe in your shoulder blades, and you're just gently pulling downwards with the bottom hand. And again, that top hand pushes this way. So you're following along the line. You're going to hold. Nice deep breathing. And feeling that tension. And then you come back up. Right? And then, yeah. You do the other side. And if you have a compressed room like I do, you might want to watch out for that with the dowel. You can also do that one with long sleeve shirt or towel. Same as some of the other things we've done. So you just roll that up. Get tension in it. So you want to make sure it's not stretchy. So it's not helpful for this one. So pull tension in it. Arms up and back. And we'll lean this way. And then lean. And again, you're driving with that top hand away, pulling that bottom hand down, and trying to keep your hips nice and even. Because you don't want to kind of sway really far either direction, because you're trying to get this into the upper back. Last one up is an advanced child's pose. So, you can do this one with a chair, couch, if your bed is of an appropriate height. Basically anything that is close to knee height. There's wiggle room there, but you want to make sure it's like knee or higher, because otherwise it's going to be too short to be as effective. Now, this is only if you can comfortably do the child's pose and you want a little bit more of a stretch, because this is more intensive. So, you're going to get about as far away as if you were to do a tabletop, and your shoulders would be right there. Right? And that's where you want to think about distance-wise for setting yourself. Abs engaged, so you get that nice breath out. Get them really tight. Then you're going to lean onto it, and you're putting your elbows on. Your hands are together. Now you can also have your the edge of your hands together, but that's just a little bit more intensive. You can have the other way. Really, you can play around with the hand positioning. It doesn't affect too much in the shoulders. And then what you're going to do is just sink downwards, making sure you have enough room for your head to pass between your arms, and keeping that arch in your low back as much as you can. And then you're just letting yourself sink down. So you should feel this in the armpits, in the upper back, in the shoulder blade region. Now if you're feeling like, oh, that's super easy, you can go really far back with your knees, and then as you're coming down, it allows you to put that much more weight into your elbows to make this more intensive of a stretch. But you do not have to do that. You want to just find a place where you feel a lot of tension build up. You can hold it comfortably, breathe. You want to make sure you're also kind of slightly driving downwards with the elbows, because that will maintain the tension in the tissues that you want. If you let it just flop and you're not actually maintaining tension yourself, you might stretch different areas, get into tendons, get into the actual shoulder joint itself, and you want this to be more for the muscles. So make sure you're applying just a little bit of downward force, so that the right muscles are engaged. And that is it. Hopefully these will be nice and effective for you. This one and the Dowel one is a little bit more on the intensive side, so just be careful with yourself and make sure you're breathing comfortably.